Hello, scholars. I just wanted to do this little video here to give you a demonstration of how the object analysis diagram works. You are going to be doing this for this unit's discussion, but also this is going to be an important part of the second presentation and final presentation, which is coming up. First thing I want to make clear, again, use the tools that you have on hand and you're familiar with. That's the first thing. Second thing, it is a diagram. It's not just a list of words, it is a diagram. The other bit, this is not anything like the formalist diagram. What you should have seen from the module is that this is looking more at observations of what the things are in a work of art and what they mean, and trying to unlock the riddle of it. So this probably has the most to do with that, that first research note we did about making good observations and interpretations. All right, now I'm going to do this demonstration with Lucy Orta's Collectiveware, which is in the module. You are not doing Lucy Orta. You are going to be doing Tim Hawkinson's Emoter. Let's make that clear. So don't turn this in, but I want to just show you how it works. All right, when doing this diagram, the first thing you need to get is the arrangement. You want to know where the things are. So in this case here, it's a pretty simple arrangement of objects. I've got a big thingy here. I've got a big thingy here. And then we've got a thingy connecting the two thingies here and here. Now this is important because the location of objects can tell us a lot about what the symbols or metaphors or the things within it mean. So you got to make sure that you know where they're all located. So start off with a real simple diagram arrangement. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to start listing the things, the nouns or objects that you observe, and you have to place them where they belong in the suit. So there are people. There's a people. Oh, I missed that. Yeah, wrote that wrong. There's some kind of a tube. There's a suit. There's another suit. There's gloves. There's a hood. It's important to write all these things down. Now, I'm going to get on people a lot in the discussion and the diagram. The more you observe, the more you have to work with, the more you have to interpret. So be exhaustive. Write down every last little thing that you notice. And there's also a hole. And a hole. So make sure you write it all down. You never know what might be important. Next thing I'm going to do, after I've got a good listing of all the nouns and I've written down where those objects are in the diagram, I'm going to list adjectives. And when I do this, I'm going to be objective. And I'm going to be non-objective. So objective adjectives, for example, are things that pretty much everyone can agree on. It's observational. Like, I notice this is red. I notice the gloves are orange. And they're yellow. I notice the suit is made out of fabric. And it's interesting when I take a look at it, the kind of fabric. It's like tent fabric. And I notice this is like safety. It's a safety yellow almost. And the hood is kind of like either a snow jacket, or it's also a little bit like an astronaut. It's a little bit like an astronaut hood, possibly. I also notice that this connects. I notice that there are zippers. I notice also that there are boots. I noticed that the gloves have reinforcement. And maybe made out of rubber? Now, they kind of remind me a little bit of, I mentioned astronaut, they remind me of tent material. They also, well, actually, I already said, they also kind of look spacey. And maybe a bit like survival wear. Again, I want to go as exhaustive as possible. Now, those are objective observations. Non-objectives are some of the things in the way they make me feel. Like when I look at it, it's like, it's weird. It feels uncomfortable. It feels, when I look at it, like it's constricting maybe, but it's like movement limited. These are all things that are kind of, what in the world could this possibly mean? Because it gives me a weird kind of a feeling to it. Now, the last thing I want to list, and I could go on like this for a good long time, but I want to keep the video short. The last thing I want to list for this is something else, and that is the broken hammer. Now, with the broken hammer, remember, go back to the module. Make sure you understand this, because if you don't, I may send you back to look at it again. This is a key component. The broken hammer is, again, what is it about this work of art that is unusual, that removes it from everyday use, that, like, it's like nothing I've ever seen before, so I can't assume that I know what's it about. So, like, a part of the broken hammer in this case is we don't often... We don't often see people tied together with tubes. We don't see people walking around in sleeping bags. We don't often see people walking around in sleeping bags. That's really unusual. And we don't see people in modular clothes. And I forgot to mention that in because it does look modular, because there's a hole in this guy's belly, and then it looks like the tube could be attached in multiple places. So it looks like this thing could be attached and reattached and reconstructed. So there is something about it that's modular. Now, right now I've got a lot of information. Now I need a little bit more. When it comes to Lucy Orta and this piece, there's one other thing that I would need to add. This would actually be a mode of engagement piece of information, and that is where this is happening. Because the one piece we don't have, and it's hard to see it in the photograph, is what's happening in the space. And the space is a New York City winter. Because the one thing we don't have implicit in the image is the knowledge that when Lucy Orta designed this, what she had in mind was, if I had all the materials available for survival wear, and I had to help someone survive a New York City winter outside, what would I need to make for them so they could survive outside in New York City in the winter at all times? Hey? Oh, all of a sudden we're starting to get an idea here of what this may be about, because maybe this has something to do with homelessness. Maybe this has to do with something about surviving in urban settings. Now we start getting into curious things. But in order for me to put that together, I have to make all these observations. So that's the basic on how to do the object analysis. Go ahead and do this full bit. There must be a diagram. You have to go through this process and then take a picture of it, upload it to the discussion, or upload it to your presentation. All right? I love to see what you do with that motor. Take care.